Commander Lee Minho sat in the darkness of the monitoring station, his eyes fixed on the glowing screens that surrounded him. The asteroid belt stretched endlessly outside the hidden windows of Station Alphanine, but Minho rarely looked at the stars anymore. For 15 years, he had been listening to voices that came from far beyond what humans could see. The station was small, barely large enough for 12 people to live and work. It looked like an old mining facility from the outside, covered in fake rust and broken equipment. No alien ship had ever given it a second look. That was exactly what Earth's government wanted. "Sir, we have another transmission," said Lieutenant Park So-young, adjusting her headphones. Her desk was covered with translation equipment that had taken Earth's best scientists 20 years to build. Every word, every sound from alien ships was recorded and studied. Minho walked over to her station, put it on the main speakers. The command center filled with strange voices speaking in languages that sounded like music mixed with machine noise. Park's fingers moved quickly across her keyboard, and slowly, words began to appear on the screen in simple English. "The human world grows more interesting each cycle," said the first voice. It belonged to something called a Vexstar, a race of tall reptile-like creatures who controlled 12 star systems. "Their radio signals show they are becoming more organized." "Still trapped on one planet though," replied another voice. "This one belonging to a Morden." These aliens looked like walking crystal formations and were known for being very smart with technology. No ships beyond their moon, no real weapons. They would be easy to control. Minho felt his hands close into fists. For 30 years, these alien races had been watching Earth, talking about humans like they were animals in a zoo. The Galactic Council, as they called themselves, met every few months to discuss which species were worth conquering and which were worth ignoring. So far, Earth had been ignored. The aliens thought humans were too primitive to be a threat, but also too aggressive to be good slaves. This had bought Earth time, precious time, that leaders like Admiral Cho Jae-sung had used very well. "The Cathay Empire has been asking about claiming the Sol system," continued a third voice. This one belonged to a Zephyri, creatures that looked like giant octopi with 6 brains. "They say the third planet has good water, and the humans could be moved to work camps on the 4th planet. Too much effort," the Vexstar replied. "Better to wait until they develop something useful, then take it from them." Ensign Kim Tae-young, the youngest member of the station crew, looked up from his communications board. His job was to track alien ship movements, and what he saw always made him angry. "Sir, 3 more council ships just entered the outer system. They're doing another survey run." Minho nodded. "The aliens came by every few months, using sensors to scan Earth and its nearby space. They always found exactly what Earth wanted them to find. A busy but primitive world with chemical rockets, simple satellites, and no sign of advanced technology. They never found the hidden factories on the dark side of Earth's moon. They never detected the massive shipyard built inside a hollowed-out asteroid near Jupiter. Most importantly, they never discovered the network of monitoring stations like Alphanine that had been recording their every word for decades. "Lieutenant Park, make sure you get every word of this transmission," Minho ordered. "Admiral Cho will want to know if they're planning to move against us soon." Park nodded, her face serious. She had joined the monitoring program when she was just 20 years old. Now 35, she had spent half her life listening to aliens discuss the best ways to destroy or enslave her people. It had made her very good at her job, but it had also made her very angry. The alien voices continued their casual discussion of humanity's fate. They talked about human cities like they were reading a shopping list. New York would be good for its harbor. Tokyo had interesting technology that could be studied. London had nice museums that could be preserved. "Send the recording to Earth Command," Minho said quietly. "Priority channel." Across the solar system, The encrypted message traveled through hidden relay stations to a secret facility buried deep under the mountains of South Korea. There, Admiral Cho Jae-sung received the transmission and read it with calm eyes that revealed nothing of the fire burning inside him. Cho had been planning humanity's response for 20 years. Every alien transmission had been studied. Every piece of technology had been reverse-engineered and improved. Every weakness in the alien fleets had been carefully noted and filed away. The aliens thought humans were trapped on Earth because that was what Earth wanted them to think. In reality, human ships had been exploring nearby star systems for 15 years. Human colonies existed on 7 different worlds, all carefully hidden from alien sensors. Human technology, built from stolen alien designs and improved with human creativity, was now better than anything the Galactic Council possessed. But most importantly, humanity had been listening. Every secret the aliens thought they kept, every plan they made, every weakness they revealed, humans knew it all. Soon, Admiral Cho thought as he filed the latest intelligence report, it would be time to show the galaxy that Earth had not been sleeping. Earth had been preparing. The aliens were about to learn that their most dangerous mistake was underestimating the species they thought was still living in caves. The Vector War fleet appeared in space near Pluto, like a swarm of metal insects. 200 ships, each one larger than anything humans had ever built, according to alien intelligence reports. Supreme Commander Kexvalum stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the small yellow star that housed the primitive human world. "How long since we left our home system?" Kexvalum asked his second-in-command. 43 days, Supreme Commander, replied Captain Ziekmer, checking his datapad. The journey was faster than expected. These humans have no idea we are coming. Kexvalum smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. His scaled green skin reflected the light from the ship's control panels. Like all Vexstar, he was nearly 8 feet tall and built for war. His people had conquered 17 different worlds in the past 50 years. Adding Earth to that list would be simple. Send the surrender message, he ordered. Use their primitive radio signals. Make sure every human on their planet can hear it. The message was simple and direct. Earth had 24 hours to surrender completely. All human governments would dissolve. All human military forces would lay down their weapons. All human leaders would report to Vexstar collection centers for processing. Any resistance would result in the complete destruction of human civilization on Earth. President Nam Ji-woo sat in the emergency command bunker, deep under Seoul. The bunker had been built 50 years ago during the Cold War, but now it served a very different purpose. The walls were covered with screens, showing information from across the solar system. "Sir, the alien message is being broadcast on every frequency," reported General Han Seo-jin, the head of Earth's secret space defense program. "Every radio, every television, every communication device on the planet is receiving it." Nam Ji-woo nodded calmly. He had been preparing for this day for 20 years, ever since he first learned about the monitoring stations and the alien threat. "What is the public reaction?" "Panic in some areas, but our media teams are working to keep people calm," Han replied. "Most people think it's some kind of joke or movie promotion. The ones who believe it are staying in their homes like we planned. Good, and our fleet positions." General Han smiled for the first time in days. "All ships are in position, sir." Admiral Cho reports ready status across all battle groups. Nam Ji-woo turned to the communication officer. "Send Admiral Cho the authorization code. Operation Thunder is approved." In space near Jupiter, Captain Omenesio watched the alien fleet through her ship's sensors. The U's Soul's Pride was one of 50 ships hiding in the shadow of Jupiter's largest moon. 2 alien sensors. They looked like space rocks or old satellites, nothing worth investigating. "Captain, the alien fleet is maintaining standard formation," reported Lieutenant Bae Sungo from the tactical station. "No scouts, No advanced ships, no defensive positions. They're flying straight toward Earth, like they're going to a parade. Menesio had studied Vexstar military tactics for 10 years. They were effective against most alien species, because they relied on fear and overwhelming force. They would arrive at a world, show their massive fleet, demand surrender, and usually get it without firing a shot. It had worked against every species they had encountered, but the Vexstar had never fought humans before. Signal to all ships, Menesio ordered. Maintain silence until Admiral Cho gives the attack order. Let them get close. The alien fleet moved slowly through the solar system, passing Mars without stopping. Kexvolume expected the humans to respond, with desperate radio messages, begging for mercy, or trying to negotiate. Instead, he received complete silence. Supreme Commander, we are detecting no response from the human world, reported his communications officer. No military movements, no ship launches, no defensive preparations. They appear to be completely paralyzed with fear. Kexvolume laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Perfect. These creatures are even weaker than our intelligence reports suggested. We will not even need to fire our weapons. What Kexvolume did not know was that human intelligence had been watching Vexstar tactics for 15 years. Every battle, every conquest, every military strategy had been recorded and studied. Humans knew exactly how the Vexstar expected their enemies to behave, and they were doing the opposite. As the alien fleet passed the asteroid belt, automated defense platforms began tracking their movement. The platforms looked like old mining equipment or broken satellites, but each one contained weapons that would have impressed the Galactic Council. Human engineers had taken alien plasma cannon designs and improved them with human manufacturing techniques and targeting systems. Sir, we are now detecting some artificial structures in the asteroid belt, reported the Vexstar sensor officer. But they appear to be mining equipment and old satellites. Nothing that poses a threat. Ignore them, Kexvolume ordered. Focus on the human home world. I want a complete sensor sweep of their planet. Count their cities, locate their military bases, identify their leaders. The Vexstar fleet continued toward Earth, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Behind them, hidden in the shadows of moons and asteroids, human ships began to move into attack positions. The hunters had become the hunted. But the aliens would not realize this until it was far too late. Admiral Cho, Jae-sung, aboard his flagship hidden behind Earth's moon, received the final position reports from all human battle groups. 20 years of planning and preparation were about to be tested in the next few hours. The aliens thought they were attacking helpless prey. They were about to discover they had walked into a carefully prepared trap. The first Vexstar ships died without warning. One moment, they were flying in perfect formation toward Earth, and the next moment, they were expanding clouds of hot metal and gas. Supreme Commander Kexvolume watched in shock as 12 of his forward scout ships simply vanished in brilliant white explosions. What happened? He shouted at his sensor officer. Where did those attacks come from? The young Vexstar officer's hands shook as he checked his instruments. Sir, I detect weapons fire from the asteroid belt, but our scanners show only old mining equipment and broken satellites there. Impossible, Kexvolume snarled. Humans do not have weapons that can destroy our ships. Their technology is centuries behind ours. But even as he spoke, more of his ships began to explode. The attacks came from everywhere. Asteroids, space debris, even what looked like old communication satellites. Each explosion was perfectly timed and incredibly accurate. Whatever was shooting at his fleet knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage. Captain Menesio smiled as she watched the alien confusion from her hiding place behind Jupiter's moon. The hidden weapons platforms were working exactly as planned. For 20 years, human engineers had been building fake mining stations and broken satellites throughout the solar system. Each one contained powerful plasma cannons, from captured alien technology. "Captain, the aliens are trying to locate our gun platforms," reported Lieutenant Bei Sung-ho. "But their sensors cannot tell the difference between our weapons and real space junk." "Perfect," Minesio replied. "Signal, Admiral Cho. Phase 1 is complete. The aliens are confused and scared. Time for Phase 2. Near Earth." Admiral Cho Jae-sung received the signal aboard his flagship, the UES Inchan. For 15 years, this ship had been under construction in a secret facility carved inside a large asteroid. It was 3 times larger than any ship humans had ever built publicly, and it contained technology that would surprise even the Galactic Council. "All ships, this is Admiral Cho," he spoke into his communication system. "Begin Ducloak sequence. Let them see what Earth has really been building." The UES Inchan shimmered and became visible directly in front of the alien fleet. Its hull was dark gray, covered with weapons that no human government had ever announced building. Behind it, more ships appeared: the US Busan, the US Gwangju, the US Daegu. 50 vessels materialized out of empty space, like ghosts becoming solid. KEX single quotes volume stared at the human fleet in complete disbelief. These ships were not the primitive rockets his intelligence reports had described. They were sleek, deadly, and obviously built for war. Worse, his sensors were detecting energy readings that matched advanced council-level technology. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "Our spies have been watching Earth for 30 years. They never left their home world. They never developed advanced technology." His chief intelligence officer, a female Vexstar named Sekra, checked her records with growing panic. "Sir, all our reports show humans using only chemical rockets and primitive nuclear weapons. They have never demonstrated anything like these ships." The human admiral's voice suddenly filled the Vexstar command bridge, speaking in perfect Vexstar language. "Attention Vexstar fleet. I am Admiral Cho Jae-sung of the United Earth Navy. You have entered our solar system without permission and threatened our people. You have 30 seconds to reverse course and leave immediately." Kexvel's scaled face turned dark green with rage. No primitive species had ever dared to give orders to the mighty Vexstar Empire. "How dare you speak to us as equals? We are your superiors in every way. Your pathetic ships cannot match our firepower. Perhaps you should check your sensors more carefully," Admiral Cho replied calmly. "We have been studying your technology for quite some time." The Vexstar sensor officer suddenly looked up from his instruments, his face pale with shock. "Supreme Commander, I am reading weapons signatures that are impossible. These human ships have plasma cannons more advanced than our own. Their targeting systems are showing accuracy ratings above council standards." "That cannot be right," Kexvolum snapped. "Check your equipment." But deep down, he was beginning to understand the terrible truth. Somehow, these humans had been lying about their capabilities for decades. Every intelligence report, every observation, every assessment had been wrong. The primitive species they had come to conquer was anything but primitive. Captain Yoon Dae-hai, commanding the US Busan, watched the alien fleet through her tactical display. She had spent 10 years studying Vexstar ship designs and battle tactics. She knew their weapons, their defenses, and most importantly, their weaknesses. "Admiral, the aliens are powering up their weapons," she reported to Cho. "Should we fire first?" "Negative," Admiral Cho replied. "Let them make the first move. I want the galaxy to know that Earth defended itself, not that Earth started a war." Kexvolum made his fatal decision. Rather than retreat and admit that his intelligence had been completely wrong, rather than report to his superiors that humans were far more dangerous than anyone had realized, he chose to attack. Pride and anger overcame common sense. "All ships, open fire," he commanded. "Destroy these human vessels. Show them the power of the Vexstar Empire." The first alien energy blasts lit up space between the two fleets. But Admiral Cho was ready. He had been preparing for this exact moment for 20 years. "All ships," he said calmly, "you are free to engage. Show them what Earth has learned." The real battle was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea how badly they had underestimated their enemy. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes and 43 seconds. Supreme Commander Kexfaloom fired the first shot, a massive energy beam that should have cut Admiral Cho's flagship in half. Instead, the human ship moved sideways with impossible speed, and the alien weapon missed completely. Before Kexfaloom could understand what had happened, return fire from the UES engine struck his ship's shields with devastating force. "Impossible," Kexfaloom shouted as his bridge shook violently. "Our intelligence reports said they had no energy weapons at all." His weapons officer, a veteran of 12 conquest campaigns, stared at his instruments in shock. "Sir, that human ship just hit us with a plasma cannon that is 30% more powerful than our own, and their targeting system locked onto us faster than our computers could track." But the real surprise came 30 seconds later, when more human ships began appearing throughout the solar system. What Kexfaloom had thought was Earth's entire defensive fleet turned out to be just the beginning. Captain Lee Hyanwu led 15 ships out from behind Mars, moving in perfect formation. His vessels had been hiding in the shadow of the red planet for 2 days, waiting for this exact moment. The Mars Defense Fleet, as Earth Command called it, specialized in fast attack maneuvers that could break apart enemy formations. "All ships target the alien cruisers on the left side," Lee ordered. "Hit them hard and fast, then move to the next group." The Vexstar ships tried to turn and face this new threat, but human ships moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Earth's engineers had studied alien engine designs for 20 years, then improved them with human manufacturing techniques and lightweight materials. At the same time, Commander Park Jimin brought her squadron up from behind Jupiter. The Yu's Guangzhou and 12 sister ships had been waiting in the gas giant's atmosphere, using the planet's storms to hide their energy signatures. Now they struck at the alien fleet's right side, catching the Vexstar completely off guard. "Sir, we have human ships attacking from multiple directions," reported Kexval's tactical officer, his voice rising with panic. "I count at least 80 vessels, and more are still appearing." Kexfaloom could not believe what he was seeing. His fleet of 200 ships, which should have easily conquered any primitive world, was being torn apart by an enemy that was supposed to be helpless. Every human ship moved with precision and purpose, as if this entire battle had been planned and practiced many times. "How many ships do these humans have?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir," came the terrified reply. "Our sensors keep detecting new vessels. They appeared to be hidden throughout this entire star system." The truth was even worse than Kexfaloom feared. Earth had not built just one secret fleet, they had built 7 of them. Each fleet was hidden in a different part of the solar system, and each one specialized in different types of combat. The Mars fleet was built for speed and surprise attacks. The Jupiter fleet was designed for heavy assault missions. The Asteroid Belt fleet specialized in defensive operations. Captain Yoon Daehai, commanding the Saturn Defense Group, brought her ships into the battle from the outer system. Her 25 vessels had been disguised as mining operations near Saturn's rings for 3 years. Now they closed the trap, cutting off any chance for the alien fleet to retreat. "Admiral Cho, this is Captain Yoon," she reported. "The back door is closed. No alien ship will escape this system." Admiral Cho watched the battle from his command center with calm satisfaction. Every move the Vexstar made had been predicted by human strategists. Every weakness in alien ship design had been identified and exploited. This was not a battle, it was a carefully planned execution. "Target their command ship," Cho ordered. "It is time to end this." The UES engine, along with 4 other heavy cruisers, focused their fire on Kexval's flagship. The alien ship's shields lasted less than 10 seconds against the combined human assault. Energy beams cut through the Vexstar hull like it was made of paper. On the alien bridge, explosions erupted from control panels as the ship's systems began to fail. Kexvalum grabbed his communications officer by the throat. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," he snarled. "Tell them these humans are not what we thought. Tell them." His words were cut off as another human energy blast tore through the bridge. In his final moments, Kexvalum understood the terrible truth. Humanity had never been primitive. They had been patient. They had been watching, learning, and preparing for exactly this kind of attack. The few surviving Vexstar ships tried desperately to escape, but human vessels pursued them relentlessly. Captain Ominisio's squadron had been specially designed for pursuit missions. Her ships were faster than anything in the alien fleet, and their weapons could disable enemy engines without destroying the entire vessel. "Let a few of them go," Admiral Cho ordered. "Make sure they can tell the galaxy what happened here today." 3 badly damaged Vexstar ships limped away from the solar system, carrying news that would change everything. The species the Galactic Council had dismissed as primitive cave dwellers had just destroyed the most powerful invasion fleet in the galaxy. Earth was no longer hiding. The hunt had begun, and humanity was the predator. The emergency session of the Galactic Council began in chaos. Representatives from 47 different species filled the massive chamber on Kepler Station. But, instead of their usual calm discussions, everyone was talking at once, fear-filled. The air like a bad smell. The Morden representative, a tall crystal creature named Zixtel, stood at the center podium. His normally bright blue light was dim with worry. "Order. We must have order," he called out, but his voice shook. "The humans destroyed an entire Vexstar fleet," shouted the Kethai ambassador, her snake-like body coiled with tension. 200 ships, gone in less than 20 minutes. A Zephyr Council member, his 6 tentacles writhing nervously, added his own frightening news. "Our deep space monitors have detected human colonies on 17 different worlds. They have been expanding for years without us knowing." The chamber fell silent at this announcement. For over 30 years, the Council had believed humans were trapped on their single world, using primitive technology and posing no threat to anyone. Now they were learning that everything they thought they knew was wrong. Ambassador Song Haijin entered the chamber at that moment, flanked by Captain Lim Soo-young and Commander Kang Min-jon. All 3 wore the dark blue uniforms of the United Earth Navy, and they walked with quiet confidence that made the alien representatives nervous. Song was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but she carried herself like someone who commanded respect. She had spent 15 years studying alien languages and cultures, preparing for this exact moment. Behind her, Lim and Kong kept their hands near their weapons, watching the crowd of alien representatives with careful eyes. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Song began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. "I am Ambassador Song Haijin, representing the people of Earth and all human colonies throughout this region of space." The Vexstar representative, a scarred warrior named General Tokavar, stood up angrily. He was one of the few survivors from the fleet that had attacked Earth, and his arm was still bandaged from the battle. "You have no right to be here. Humans are a primitive species. You do not qualify for council membership." Song smiled calmly and activated a holographic projector. Images filled the air above the assembly. Human ships, human colonies, human space stations that the council had never detected. General Tokbar, I believe your recent experience with human primitive technology might suggest otherwise. The images showed the true extent of human expansion. Hidden colonies on worlds the council had never surveyed. Space stations disguised as asteroids. Fleets of ships that matched or exceeded anything the council races possessed. Most shocking of all were the monitoring stations. Small facilities placed throughout Council space that had been recording alien communications for decades. "You were spying on us," whispered the Morden representative, his crystal body flickering with fear. "All this time, you were listening to our private communications." Every word, Song confirmed. Every secret meeting, every invasion plan, every discussion about conquering or enslaving other species. "We recorded it all." She touched another control, and the chamber filled with voices, council members from years past, discussing the best ways to attack Earth. Debating whether humans would make good slaves, calculating how to divide human territory among themselves. The aliens listened to their own words with growing horror. Commander Kong Min Jun stepped forward and spoke in perfect Cathay language. "We learned your languages. We studied your cultures. We analyzed your military tactics. Most importantly, we identified your weaknesses." Captain Lim Soo-young added her own message in Zephyr. "Every species that threatened humanity has been cataloged. Every world that supported attacks on human colonies has been marked. We know who our friends are, and we know who our enemies are." The chamber erupted in frightened discussions. Some council members demanded immediate military action against humanity. Others called for peace negotiations. A few suggested fleeing to distant star systems, where humans might not follow. Song waited for the noise to quiet down, then continued her presentation. "Humanity does not seek conquest. We are not interested in building an empire or enslaving other species. We want only our rightful place among the civilized races of the galaxy." "And if we refuse to grant it?" demanded the Vexstar general. Song's smile disappeared, and her voice became cold as space ice. "Then you will join the rest of your invasion fleet." At that moment, Admiral Cho Jae-sung's message arrived at the Council station. The transmission came from Earth's newest flagship, the U.S. Sol, a massive vessel that was larger than anything the Council had ever built. The ship's image appeared in the chamber, its weapons clearly visible. "Members of the Galactic Council," Admiral Cho's voice filled the chamber. "This is Admiral Cho Jae-sung of the United Earth Navy. Any species that threatens humanity or our allies will face immediate retaliation. We have been patient observers for too long. Now we are active participants in galactic affairs." The message was clear and simple. The quiet world that the Council had planned to conquer someday was now one of the most powerful military forces in known space. The species they had dismissed as primitive had revealed themselves to be the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. As the council session ended in confusion and fear, one thing was certain: the balance of power had shifted forever. Humanity had been listening in the shadows for 30 years. Now the galaxy would listen to them.